We're going to do a little bit of a different type of video today. I'm just going to ramble and speak from the heart and try not to edit anything out. And I'm going to start first off by saying that this sucks. This definitively sucks. There was an element where I was tuned into the Harris campaign and I was thinking, okay, they're not really defending trans people as much as I would like for them to. They're not really standing up for trans people in a way that feels like we really need, especially since we are the thin wedge that the GOP is focused on gobbling up to then take up larger sections of the pie of discrimination that they are trying to shove down their greedy gullets. Trans people are the tip of that wedge now. We're being criminalized. We're being equated to pedophiles and sex offenders and child molesters. Our ability to even piss in public is being questioned. Our existences are being pushed to be dubbed pornographic. Partially, I think this has happened because LGBTQ people are being more widely accepted. And also partially just like, we legalized gay marriage. We did it. And like, truly, conservatives aren't allowed to say, oh, and the world ended, because it didn't. Hi. Because it didn't. So I think they're like, okay, well, we'll focus on the trans people, because the more we do against trans people, at least it looks like we're doing something. We're doing lots of busy work. Are we actually helping you, the citizen, the voter? No. But trans people, we got them down. We were honing in. And it would have been very lovely for the Harris campaign to like stand up for us and give a shit. But I think the mentality at the time was, well, they're saying this right now so as to not alienate any potential never Trumper Republicans who might vote for the Harris campaign. And then she fell short like fucking 15 million votes. And now we're sitting here like, all right, I was ready to swallow the bitter pill when I thought the pill was medicine. Now I'm just realizing the pill was bitter, and the pill didn't even get elected. So now that sucks. And we are looking at an entirely red government in the United States, which is not great for us. It's very funny for me to have like been on this journey of self-actualization, a journey that went so well that I began to transition, something that is an aspect of my life that is objectively positive. And to then like after 10 months be like, oh, and also the person in the highest office of the United States, the country you live in, and half of the people in the country and lots of the people in elected forms of government are intent on demonizing you, especially now. And it's difficult because I don't even want to tell you guys like, oh, it'll be okay, because empty platitudes honestly are they piss me off. They're annoying. It's annoying when like something genuinely tragic happens to you and someone's like, oh, it'll be okay. Like, no, let me mourn the death of my cat. Let me like cry at my ex-boyfriend's funeral. Let me feel some type of emotion, because if I didn't, or I just shoved this all down and my righteous anger is nowhere to be found, we'll never improve. No one would ever improve. Throughout the history of our nation and the world, we would be stuck with slavery, with women not being able to vote, with human beings being property. Like, I think it's so odd that truly elementary school got it right and we never really needed to overcomplicate it past that. The golden rule is great. Treat others the way you want to be treated. So I can't look at you in the eyes and say everything's going to be okay, because I don't fucking know that. Demographically, powerfully, trans people always have existed, they exist now, and they will continue to exist. Trans people as a demographic, we united will be okay. There are going to be trans people 2 years from now. There are going to be trans people 200 years from now. They can never get rid of us. And sometimes it is comforting to think of ourselves as units together as a mass where I can say, cool, my people are going to be fine eventually. But like eventually doesn't help us now. And eventually certainly doesn't help you as an individual. Like, sure, I'm sure that like black slaves in the 1800s would have been really happy to know that like eventually their descendants would have been able to vote and own property and to like be in the same restaurant as white people, or that we even like elected a black guy one day. But like, what does that do for them then, you know? So I'm trying to come to you right now, acknowledging that this sucks, and I'm not going to tell you it doesn't, because it does. However, we've had our couple days where we were mourning. It felt like a bad breakup. It felt like going to a funeral. We are mourning. Ourselves, our community, our family, our friends, our fucking country. But we can't, first of all, we can't kill ourselves. I've been seeing that sentiment floating around a little bit. As someone who used to be suicidal and as someone who tried to kill themselves, I get it. I've been in that headspace, and it's all encompassing, and it surrounds you, and it feels like the air around you is full of it. It being the essence of like what's making you miserable. Each breath hurts, each thought that passes through your head aches. I'm gonna wait to speak more once my cat stops pissing. I've had stages of my life where my hand shakes as it nears the handle of my front door. I've had days where taking a knife to my skin was the only way that I could jolt myself out of the reverie of misery that I was trapped in. This sense of loss, this sense of devastation isn't a new feeling. However, I'm at a stage of my life where I, as a person individually, am better equipped to handle something like this. And if I, a person who used to rot in bed and who couldn't make eye contact with people because I was afraid of what they would see, if that person was able to get better and to have hope, you can too. So first of all, don't kill yourself, because at the very least, out of spite, if a conservative wants me dead, they're going to have to work and sweat for it. I'm not doing the heavy lifting for them. And second, I believe you if you say that no one in your immediate circle cares about you. Some of, like, which is the bullshit of, like, don't kill yourself, people care about you. Yeah, sure, like, first of all, it'd be nice if they cared about me now and not after I'm dead. Second of all, like, some of us motherfuckers are killing ourselves because we genuinely don't have people who care about us. And I acknowledge that that's a real thing that people are going through, and especially trans people. If your family is transphobic, if you don't have any friends because you're living in a community that's very red and hates trans people, I understand how lonely that feels. And as someone who is part of that community, as someone who shares your identity, as someone who has been through that, no matter how far away I am, no matter the distance between me and you, I care about you. And I'm not the only one, because right now trans people are going to have to be more united than ever. I mourn for the teenagers and the children who are trans, who look around and see draconian laws being passed specifically to target them, especially from the party that's so pro-life and yet doesn't give a shit that passing anti-trans legislation increases suicide rates in trans children by 72%. I get it. You have every right to be upset. But fuck them. Like, there are good people out there who care about you and want you alive and are waiting for you to be in their lives. And like, fuck these motherfuckers who are like, oh, you're not really hurting me, but your way of life doesn't agree with me. So yeah, you deserve to die, and I'm not going to be upset if a literal child takes their own life. We, as a demographic, have been through this. It's important to remember that, like, while this current moment is the end of our present tense, it is not the end of our history. This is not how things end. There were other previous civil rights movements leading up to MLK Jr.'s and Malcolm X's. MLK Sr. was part of a civil rights movement that quote unquote failed, but it still established the foundation for one that quote unquote succeeded. And it sucks that like our lives are going to have to be defined by struggle. And it sucks that that struggle is something we have to hold our breaths for every 4 years. But this has happened, and we're here. But we right now have it better than we did 30 years ago. Is that a comfort to anyone who was born fewer than 30 years ago? Not really. Kind of a hollow thing. But right now it's going to be a little bit worse than it was, we'll say, 2 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. Improvement is never this like linear path straight up. Unfortunately, worldwide, it seems fascism is rearing its ugly head. However, we're going to get through this. It's unfair that we have to struggle for it. It's unfair that we're being subjected to this at all. It's unfair that, like, by virtue of who we are simply as people, that we had to fight at all. That we don't really have a choice, but we must. We have to. And if you can't care about yourself enough, try to do it for a trans person you care about. And hopefully you can become that trans person you care about. Hello, are you outside? And we already have drinks here. You know what? We do need mixers. Ooh, if I cash app you, could you get me a tuna sandwich? Hell yeah. What a delightful human being. But yes, please, if we're going to take anything from this video, stick around in life. No one needs to like deserve to be alive by process of us like coming out the pussy. You're alive. You've earned it. Great. Fuck it. We ball. You don't need to have to fight for this. And I just wanted to say and tell you that if you are someone without support, I've got you. And hopefully other people in this community have your backs. And hopefully you're able to find communities online of other fellow trans people who will also have your back. And it sucks, especially as a teenager, because you haven't lived a long enough life to be like, okay, waiting this amount of time will reap rewards. Like now as a 26-year-old, it was my birthday a couple days ago, by the way. Now as a 26-year-old, I've lived a long enough life to be like, okay, if this much time passes, this, and this will have improved. I can wait. I can afford to be patient. I can afford to like feel miserable for a couple days because I know it will end. But like when you're a kid, it's hard because like sometimes misery has been your entire life. Like waiting a few years means waiting like 30% of your lifespan that you've already lived up to this point. 40% of your conscious lifespan. 1 through 3 don't count. You can't remember that shit. Speaking to specifically the kids. Feels weird, but speaking specifically to the kids, each day is going to be a trial. But to assume that each day will be a year and that each year will be that day, it's misguided. Because then all you can really do in your head is assume that each year will continue and that you'll pass 5 years that are like today. So let's not focus on like 2 years from now when you can move out. Let's not focus on 5 years from now when you get to live in a community full of welcoming trans people. Let's not focus on 10 years from now when you are like fully transitioned and you have like a loving spouse who cares deeply about you. Let's focus on today. Today sucks. Remember that self-harm is a scar that will last on your entire body, that only really jolts you out of a situation temporarily. An equally effective solution is to distract your body with something that you're not feeling, but is a shock to the senses regardless. I've discovered that like doing a dab of hot sauce, tickling myself, like pressing down on the skin a little bit, is a like drastic enough change in the body to like jolt you out of whatever you're trying to like bring yourself out of. Suicide is another permanent solution to a temporary problem. All I can tell you is that when you are trying to kill yourself, your body tells you to stop, and your mind all of a sudden gives you all the reasons that you shouldn't. We should discuss divvying up sources of happiness, because what's likely going to have to happen with your life is a lot of your dopamine and a lot of your like will to carry on is going to come from online, which is great. But also because like clubs, activities, things with people you've probably tried and you've probably been ostracized from, or perhaps your parents don't allow you. If you haven't tried, or if you're able to, do give it a shot. But most of the happiness and solace you'll find will be on your own. Try to read, try to do something new every day. Try to pick up a skill with just your hands, maybe Rubik's Cubes, chess. Divvy up the sources of your happiness. Make sure all of your happiness is not coming from your laptop or your phone. Make sure that you are able to like entertain yourself with just your body. If your parents ever try to take your belongings, because if all of your friends are online and all of your hobbies are online, whether it be YouTube or making videos or like looking up Wattpad fan fiction. Oh,
Hey, bro. What all do you want on your sandwich?
ooh, what are the options?
Sweet pepper, hot peppers, cucumbers, jalapeno, spinach.
Everything included, no add-ons.
So all of it on there?
All of it, motherfucker. Everything.
Alrighty. And then is just American cheese okay?
Yeah, fucks hard.
Alright.
But yeah, like if all of your hobbies are on one device and your parents are fucking confiscated, then that's lots of your dopamine and will to live gone with that one device. Make sure that you're able to like do stuff and continue to live without relying on just one source of happiness. And like this is good advice for adults too. Like if you're investing 90% into your relationship and like 5% into your friends and 5% into that TV show that you like and you break up, fuck, you're gone. You're toast. In addition, your mental state is probably very fragile and teetering on an edge for a good reason. So make sure you're doing what you can within your power to take care of yourself. At the very least, get 8 hours of sleep. Get off your phone for an hour before bed and make sure you're not on your phone first thing in the morning. You'll feel really well rested. Make sure you're trying to eat 3 meals a day, 2 at the very least. Drink water, and try to get some exercise. At the very least, you can do some push-ups, some sit-ups. If you can't do a push-up, put your knees on the ground. I know it seems like we've like veered wildly off topic from trans shit, but trust me, this is going to help. And at the end of the day, even if you're miserable after all of this, after like you divvy up your sources of happiness, after you like eat well and like sleep properly and you still feel miserable, that's fucking fine. It sucks out here. It's a shithole. Like you're not doing anything wrong. It's not within your head. I mean, it might be. You might have depression or something chronic. I don't know. But like if you're still sad after you've done everything quote unquote correctly, sometimes it's the external shit. Most of the times it's the transphobes. That's not your fault. It's not on you. Like sure, a lot of negative attention is being directed your way simply because of who you are, but like replace your demographic that's being discriminated against with any other. If you saw someone who was Asian hating themselves because everyone hates on them for being Asian, you'd be like, that's silly. Obviously, you're probably a decent person. I don't fucking know you, but like, if you're a shitty person, it's not because you're Asian. Remember that you're not insane. Remember that, like, you are right. It's okay to be fucking trans universally. Like, it's just people who are stupid. Now, if you are doing it like slightly better as a human being and you have capacity, you have the ability, you have the time, you have the wherewithal, you have the resources, please try to connect with trans people in your area. Try to become slightly more politically active. Each year I try to do a little bit better than I did the year before, mostly because I spent 2 years of my life fucking gone. 2 years of acid and fucking Among Us videos, Jesus Christ. So I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to be a better person, both internally and politically, and just actively. So if you have the ability, connect with trans people in your area, see who needs help, while also still making sure that you yourself are okay. This is going to be tough. It's going to be hard. it's going to be a hard 4 years, and even if he's not reelected, it's going to be a hard time after that. It seems like America is just very down to hate people, but it's worth sticking around for. Like, the TV shows I love watching every night are worth sticking around for. The friendships I make are worth sticking around for. Found this really cool blueberry mules. I used to do Moscow mules, and now I do blueberry mules. That was tight. Couldn't have had those if I killed myself when I wanted to kill myself. As like a relatively new trans person, as someone who's been trans for 10 months, 10 and a half, like, sure, there have been challenges, but I discovered I was trans as a result of being really secure in myself and realizing that there was still more that I could discover within. And now that I've done that discovery, I'm like, shit, fuck, being trans is great. Like, no one can convince me otherwise. Sure, you can pass your laws. Sure, you can say your slurs. This is a fucking amazing journey. Anyone who's trans is so fucking cool. I'm 100% secure in my masculinity and my femininity because guess what? I don't know. I take fucking hormones to feminize, and then I'll act as masculine as I want or as feminine as I want. Fucking paint my nails and I don't know, drink a stout. What the fuck are we talking about? We're just people. We're cool people. What's going on here? So like, I don't know. I guess our plan here going forward is make people realize that trans people are chill. I try to do a lot by just working at a liquor store and like being generally cool. But I feel like just if someone's never met a trans person before and they meet you and you're just being your chill ass self, they could be like, oh, cool. Anyway, is it obvious I didn't write a script? If you want community online, the link to my Discord is in the bio below, in the description below. And if you want a fucking hug, is this better than nothing, or like does this only accentuate the fact that I'm not there and you actually didn't receive physical comfort? I don't know. We'll give it a shot. But listen, stick around, take care of yourself, keep fighting, because the people we're fighting, they're just assholes. And when have we ever been okay with assholes getting their way? That felt a little bit negative to end on. Message of love and peace. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love you all. I stopped recording on the mic, but love you all. Bye.